there was a recent back and forth on $1 million worth of game. Shouts out to them. Between Jaron Ennis and Terence Crawford on the phone. Terence Crawford basically said, like, when did you call me out? Like, when did you say my name to try to pursue a fight? And Boots was like, bro, I've been calling you out since 2018. Mm-hmm. You have a certain contingent of fans that felt like Crawford pulled the covers off of Boots. That, Boots never really wanted to fight, mm-hmm. and that Crawford didn't duck or whatever the terminology is. Mm-hmm. What was your thoughts on that?
My thoughts were just like, here we go again, Crawford. Crawford gives me personality disorder trait vibes. Mm. He gaslights a lot. Mm. I'm not diagnosing him. I'm just saying, we got to keep it all the way 100 as men. Mm. Terence Crawford was gaslighting on $1 million worth of game. Salute to $1 million worth of game. They from our hometown. They from Philly. Mm. Gilly and Wallow, and they carried it right. They called Boots on the phone. I respect them for that. Here's the thing about that. Terence Ball Crawford can say when you try to, dog, Bozy was on your platform, YSM, several times. Even Boots was on this same platform here that we're on now. Several times. Using Crawford's name and saying, Bozy's words, not mine, we'll take that fight in a heartbeat. So now why is Crawford acting like he don't know when Bozy was on your platform recently, Jamil, and he even said, I talked to Crawford on the phone. So when Crawford was saying, you're not saying the same thing that your dad's saying something different. What is Bozy saying different than Boots saying? They both saying the same thing. We want to fight Crawford. We want to fight the top guys. And we remember that on Crawford's IG Live, he said, they keep asking me about Ortiz and Boots, but their names never came up. So my question to Crawford would have been, if I was there, well, who brought their names up to you? You said that they keep telling you why haven't you fought them. Who was the people that asked you that question? Because you said their names never came up, but their names didn't have to come up, especially Boots' name. Boots' name, and I actually did a short on this on my channel. Boots' name didn't have to come up. He's ranked at that time, he was ranked number 2 in the WBO. Mm-hmm. So why would you not give the guy who's ranked number 2 in the WBO an opportunity to, defend your title against, but you gave a guy who was ranked number 6 and David Ebenezer an opportunity? It just don't add up. Once again, this is Crawford again, classic gaslighting, and Boots held his own. Boots, a young guy, so Boots don't do a whole lot of talking.
No,
you know what I mean? He really
does a lot of punching. He don't really do a whole bunch of talking.
He don't do a whole lot of talking, so I wasn't expecting Boots to come firing back. But that would have been Bozy. Let him would have asked Bozy when. Bozy, this, he's the type, he'll run it all down to you. April 5th, 7 o'clock, March 2nd, you know what I mean? Or let him do that to me. I would have told Crawford exactly when, because Boots and Bozy, they've been on your channel several times over and over and over for the past year talking about fighting, Crawford. Might have been longer than that, but I'm just saying consistently for a whole year. So Crawford talking about when he knew he could have got that work from Boots.
Now, an argument that Terence Crawford fans are making is that BOK Prime approached Bozy Ennis about a potential fight. Now, I talked to BOK Prime, and BOK Prime basically told me that Terence Crawford was going to use Jaron Ennis as essentially a backup plan because Thurman was going to fight Earl Spence.
Okay.
Right? So he was under the impression that fight was next, and he was looking for another fight in March.
Okay.
And, he said, if you can make the fight with Boots, make the fight with Boots. They call Bozy, and Bozy, tells him he wants to fight, but you have to negotiate with Showtime.
Right.
They're taking that as Bozy turning down the fight. Like, that's often comments in my comment section. Yeah. Bozy turned down the fight already. He turned down the fight already. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts is very simple. Because when people start talking about Bozy and them turn down the fight, they're making it a little bit complicated. Let's simplify this. Facts again. No disrespect to BLK Prime trying to get business. I respect it. Here's the issue, and I made this point on my own channel. The timing. If it was all about Boots and fighting Boots and giving him an opportunity, once again, he should have been afforded that opportunity in October when he was ranked number 2. BLK Prime went after Boots and reached out to Bozy when Boots wasn't even in the WBO rankings anymore, and he was the interim IBF champion. So the timing wasn't right. And also, he was ranked number 2, right? So at the time that Crawford went over to BLK Prime, Boots was ranked number 2. That's when all of that could have materialized then. But instead, that's not what happened. What happened is, since Crawford used the words easy route on ESPN, I'm going to use it against him. They took the easy route. Crawford took the easy route, and he fought David Evanesian, who was already locked in on someone else's card. We don't have to rehash it. We know the truth. And David Evanesian was ranked number 6. So you skip number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 to give a fighter who's ranked number 6 from another country that was already obligated to compete on someone else's card. Where they do that at? So I respect the fact that, BLK Prime just wanted to get another big extravagant event on their card. I respect that, but it's all about good business, good ethics, and timing. And neither of those three elements were put in place or even exercised by BLK Prime. So I can't even give none of them no credit for them saying that Boots and Bozy and them turned down the fight, because Bozy himself did an interview right here on this network, right here on this channel, and he even said, we're not going to disrespect or disregard our relationship or agreement that we made with Showtime, but I'm gonna do the honorable thing and have you all communicate with Espinosa, because if it wasn't for Bozy, they wouldn't even thought about communicating with the proper protocol to get the fight done. I'm talking business ethics, so I can't give them credit for that. Crawford fans know that Boots was ranked number 2 in the WBO, and he should have gotten afforded an opportunity if it was all about fighting, to defend the title. And unfortunately, he didn't get the opportunity, so he went the other route, which was the IBF route. I mean, this is very simple, man.
Now, is it considered ducking if I tell you to call my representation to pursue a fight and have my representation negotiate with you, as opposed to you negotiating with me straight?
No, that's not called ducking at all. That's called good business ethics. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine how the relationship would have turned sour between Espinosa and Bozy, Ennis, and Boots if Espinosa would have found out that Boots was fighting on a card over there at BLK Prime when they have an agreement locked in place? Okay, nobody don't want to give an answer. I'll give an answer. Look at what happened to Hank Lundy for that same situation. We know what happened.
Yeah,
right?
According to Bozy Ennis, they're on a fight-by-fight with Showtime.
Right, that's okay.
But that still rings true.
Yeah.
In business.
In business.
Okay.
Oh, because think about it. That happened with Hank Lundy. It happened with Red Catch, right? They try to do the same thing with Spence. It's like, when I'm saying with Spence, I'm talking about the quote-unquote hedge fund conversation. Once again, Al Heyman stopped that by saying, nobody's touching this fight. We're going to follow business ethics and business protocol. Same thing Mr. Bozy did. And instead of people criticizing what Bozy said by saying, hey, Boots ducked, why don't you say, you know what, Bozy is a stand-up guy. Give him credit. You know what, Al Heyman is a stand-up guy. Give him credit, because they did the right thing when it comes to business. And that's what this whole thing is about. The timing was off. They should have never even reached out to Bozy and them, because they knew they didn't. And look, BLK Prime didn't even have Crawford under contract.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
So they negotiated the fight, but because according to Espinosa, they didn't have Crawford under contract. So
Right.
what am I speaking to you for?
There's
about
nothing to
making
talk
a fight?
about.
And he contacted Crawford directly.
Right.
So
what is there to talk about? I mean, y'all don't have any horse in the race at this point. You don't have any obligation to Crawford. Crawford has no obligation to you. You don't want to follow the right protocols. And talking to Steven Espinosa in the representation of Boots, you want to talk to Bozy one-on-one to see if you can gauge his temperature or whether or not he's going to do the same thing that these other people were doing, getting on your cards and your platform and not doing good business and being honorable. And Bozy told y'all right from the jump that's not in his character, and he wasn't going to do it. So it was really no point of calling him to get them hyped. They didn't have Crawford under contract. What are we talking about here? We're talking about having good business sense and doing things honorable in business. And of course, when you check this out, now guess what? Spence about to fight Crawford. Last time you seen a BLK Prime do a card. There you have it.